Welcome to my channel. There is one simple habit that can make your English better faster than grammar books, vocabulary lists, and even many English courses. Most people spend years learning English, but they still feel nervous when they have to speak. They know many words. They know grammar rules, but they cannot speak confidently. Why does this happen? The answer is very simple. They learn English, but they do not use English with people. In this video, I am going to show you why talking with people in English can completely change your speaking skills. You will learn why most learners stay stuck, why waiting for perfect English is a big mistake, how to speak even when you feel nervous, and how simple daily conversations can slowly make you fluent. By the end of this video, you will see English speaking in a completely different way. So watch this video until the end because one simple idea from this video could change your English journey forever. Chapter 1. Why speaking with people is the fastest way to learn English. Most people learn English for many years. They watch videos. They learn grammar. They memorize vocabulary. They read books. They spend a lot of time studying. But when someone asks them to speak English, they become nervous. Their mind becomes blank. They forget simple words. They lose confidence. Have you ever felt like this? If yes, then this chapter can change the way you learn English forever. The biggest reason is very simple. Most people study English, but they do not speak English. They spend hours learning the language, but very little time using the language. That is why their English does not improve as fast as they want. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine two students. The first student studies English for 3 hours every day. He learns grammar rules. He writes new vocabulary in a notebook. He watches English lessons. But he never speaks English with people because he is afraid of making mistakes. The second student knows less grammar. His English is not perfect. Sometimes he makes mistakes. Sometimes he forgets words. But every day he talks to people in English. He asks questions. He answers questions. He joins conversations. He practices speaking without fear. Now tell me honestly, after 1 year, who will speak better English? Of course, the second student. Why? Because speaking is a skill. And every skill becomes stronger through practice. Think about learning how to ride a bicycle. You can read books about cycling. You can watch videos about cycling. But you cannot learn cycling until you actually ride a bicycle. English is exactly the same. You cannot become fluent by only watching videos. You cannot become fluent by only learning grammar. You become fluent when you start speaking. This is where many learners make a mistake. They think fluency will come first and speaking will come later. But the truth is the opposite. Speaking comes first. Fluency comes later. Every time you speak with someone, your brain learns something new. It learns how to make sentences faster. It learns how to remember words quickly. It learns how to answer questions. It learns how to express ideas clearly. This is something books cannot teach you. And here is something very important. Children learn languages by speaking with people. They do not start with grammar books. They do not memorize long vocabulary lists. They simply listen and speak every day. At first, they make many mistakes. Sometimes they use wrong words. Sometimes their sentences are broken. Sometimes their pronunciation is not clear, but they keep speaking. And slowly, they become fluent. Adults often do the opposite. They wait for perfect grammar. They wait for perfect pronunciation. They wait for perfect vocabulary. They keep waiting and waiting. But fluency never comes because they never practice speaking. Listen carefully. You do not need perfect English to start speaking. You only need courage. Many learners think people will laugh at them. They think people will judge their mistakes. Because of this fear, they stay silent. But staying silent never improves English. Speaking improves English. Every conversation makes you better. Every mistake teaches you something. Every question helps you learn. Every answer builds confidence. And slowly something amazing happens. You stop feeling nervous. You stop translating every sentence. You start speaking faster. You start understanding more. You start feeling comfortable in English. This is how fluency grows. Not in silence. Not in fear. Not in perfection. Fluency grows through speaking. Remember this sentence because it can change your English journey. The goal is not perfect English. The goal is communication. If people understand your message, you are already making progress. So stop asking yourself, what if I make mistakes? Start asking yourself, what if speaking with people is the key to my fluency? Because one conversation can teach you more than hours of studying alone. One conversation can build your confidence. One conversation can improve your English. And one conversation can change your future. In the next chapter, I will show you why waiting for perfect English is one of the biggest mistakes English learners make. This mistake keeps millions of people silent for years. Once you understand this lesson, your confidence will start growing faster than ever before. Chapter 2. Stop waiting until your English is perfect. Now let me tell you about one of the biggest mistakes English learners make. This mistake looks small, but it silently destroys confidence and stops progress for years. Millions of people around the world make this mistake every day without realizing it. The mistake is very simple. They keep waiting for perfect English before they start speaking. Maybe you have said something like this before. My grammar is not good enough. My vocabulary is too small. My pronunciation is weak. I will start speaking when my English becomes better. At first, these words sound reasonable. They sound smart. They sound safe. But the truth is very different. These words are keeping you trapped. Think about it for a moment. How can your speaking improve if you never speak? How can your confidence grow if you never use English? How can your pronunciation become better if your mouth stays closed? It is impossible. Many learners spend years preparing to speak English. They learn grammar rules. They memorize hundreds of words. They watch video after video. They buy courses. They fill notebooks with notes. But they never start speaking. And because they never start speaking, they never become confident. Let me tell you a simple story. There was a student named Ahmed. He loved English. Every day he studied for hours. He knew many grammar rules. He memorized difficult vocabulary. He watched English videos every night. But there was one problem. He was afraid to speak. Whenever someone asked him to speak English, he became nervous. His heart started beating fast. His hands became cold. His mind became blank. He always told himself, I need to learn more first. 1 month passed. Then 6 months passed. Then 1 year passed. His English knowledge increased, but his speaking confidence stayed the same. Why? Because knowledge and confidence are not the same thing. Knowledge grows when you study. Confidence grows when you speak. One day, Ahmed met another student. This student knew less grammar. His vocabulary was smaller. His pronunciation was not perfect. But every day he spoke English with people. He made mistakes. He forgot words. Sometimes he said the wrong thing, but he continued speaking. After 1 year, something surprising happened. The student with less grammar became a better speaker. The student who made more mistakes became more fluent. And the student who waited for perfection stayed behind. This is a lesson every English learner needs to understand. Perfection is not helping you. Perfection is stopping you. Listen carefully. No fluent English speaker started with perfect English. Nobody. Every fluent speaker you admire today once spoke broken English. They made mistakes. They forgot vocabulary. They used wrong grammar. They felt embarrassed. But they continued anyway. That is why they improved. Many learners think mistakes are a sign of failure. But mistakes are actually a sign of progress. If you make mistakes, it means you are trying. If you make mistakes, it means you are learning. If you make mistakes, it means you are moving forward. The real failure is not making mistakes. The real failure is staying silent. Imagine a child learning to walk. Does the child walk perfectly on the first day? Of course not. The child falls many times, again and again. But nobody says, stop trying. Nobody says, wait until you can walk perfectly. The child keeps trying, and one day walking becomes natural. Speaking English works exactly the same way. You will make mistakes. You will forget words. You will say wrong sentences. But if you continue, speaking will become easier. And here is something very important. Most people are not paying attention to your mistakes as much as you think. Many learners imagine that everyone is judging them. They imagine people laughing at every mistake. They imagine people criticizing every sentence. But the truth is different. Most people are busy thinking about their own lives. Most people are worried about their own problems. Most people forget your mistakes after a few seconds. The fear inside your mind is usually much bigger than reality. That is why you must stop waiting. Stop waiting for perfect grammar. Stop waiting for perfect pronunciation. Stop waiting for perfect vocabulary. Because perfect English does not come before speaking. Perfect English comes from speaking. The people who improve the fastest are not the people who know the most. They are the people who practice the most. They speak when they feel nervous. They speak when they feel shy. They speak when they feel unprepared. And every conversation makes them stronger. Remember this sentence. Your English does not need to be perfect to deserve a voice. Speak with mistakes. Speak with fear. Speak with simple words. Just speak. Because every sentence you speak is building your future confidence. Every conversation is making you stronger. Every mistake is teaching you something valuable. And one day you will look back and realize something amazing. The thing that changed your English was not another grammar book. It was not another vocabulary list. It was not another video. It was the moment you stopped waiting and finally started speaking. And in the next chapter, I will show you how to start speaking English with people every single day, even if nobody around you speaks English fluently. This next chapter can completely change your confidence because most learners think they have nobody to practice with. But the truth may surprise you. Chapter 3. How to start speaking English with people. Every day, now listen very carefully because this chapter can completely change the way you practice English. Many learners understand that speaking is important. They understand that conversations help them improve faster. They understand that speaking builds confidence. But then they say something that stops their progress immediately. They say, I have nobody to speak English with. Maybe you have said this before. Maybe you look around and think nobody near you speaks English. Maybe your friends do not want to practice. Maybe your family does not speak English. Maybe you feel completely alone. And because of that, you stop trying. But listen carefully. This is one of the biggest mistakes English learners make. The truth is simple. You do not need perfect speaking partners to improve your English. You only need the willingness to start. Let me tell you a simple story. There was a student named Ali. Ali wanted to speak English fluently. He watched videos every day. He studied grammar. He learned vocabulary. But he always had the same excuse. I have nobody to practice with. Months passed. Nothing changed. His English stayed almost the same. One day he asked himself a simple question. What if I stop looking for perfect opportunities and start using the opportunities I already have? That question changed everything. Ali started speaking simple English with his friends who were also learning English. Their English was not perfect. Sometimes they made mistakes. Sometimes they laughed. Sometimes they forgot words. But they kept talking. 10 minutes became 20 minutes. 20 minutes became 30 minutes. And slowly their confidence started growing. Why? Because practice is more important than perfection. Many learners are waiting for native speakers. They think fluency will only come when they find someone with perfect English. But that is not true. Even speaking with another beginner can improve your confidence. Because every conversation teaches your brain something new. Every conversation makes speaking feel more natural. And here is something very important. You do not need long conversations. Many learners think they must speak for 1 hour every day. No. Even 5 minutes can help. A small conversation is better than no conversation. You can start with simple questions. How are you today? What did you do today? What are your plans for tomorrow? What is your favorite movie? What is your favorite food? Simple questions create simple conversations, and simple conversations create fluency. Do not underestimate small talks. Small talks build big confidence. Now let me tell you another powerful secret. The internet has made speaking practice easier than ever before. Today you can find English learners from all over the world. You can join English groups. You can join language communities. You can join speaking clubs. You can meet people who have the same goal as you. Millions of people are trying to improve their English every day. You are not alone. There are people everywhere looking for practice partners. But many learners never join these communities because fear stops them. They think their English is not good enough. They think people will judge them. They think they need more preparation. And because of these thoughts, they miss amazing opportunities. Remember this: the best time to start speaking is now. Not next month, not next year. Now. Because confidence grows through action, not through waiting. And here is another thing that can help you. Start using English during your daily life. When you go to a shop, use simple English if possible. When you send messages to your friends, use simple English sentences. When you comment on social media, write in English. When you meet someone who understands English, do not be afraid to use it. The more English becomes part of your daily life, the faster your speaking improves. This is exactly how fluent speakers grow. They do not use English once a week. They use English again and again, day after day, little by little. And slowly, English becomes natural. Now imagine your future for a moment. Imagine speaking English without fear. Imagine joining conversations comfortably. Imagine expressing your thoughts clearly. Imagine making friends from different countries. Imagine feeling proud every time you speak. That future starts with one simple step: a conversation. Just one conversation. Many people dream about fluency, but very few people take action. Do not be one of those people. Start small, start simple, but start, because every conversation is making you stronger. Every conversation is teaching your brain. Every conversation is building confidence. And one day you will realize something amazing. The thing that improved your English was not another grammar rule. It was not another vocabulary list. It was the habit of speaking every day. That habit changed everything. And now we are going to talk about another problem that stops many learners during conversations. What happens when you suddenly forget a word? What happens when you know the idea in your mind but cannot find the English word? This is where many learners panic and lose confidence. But in the next chapter, I will show you exactly what to do when you do not know the right words. And trust me, this simple lesson can completely remove a lot of fear from your English speaking journey. Chapter 4: What to do when you do not know the right words. Now listen very carefully, because this chapter can remove one of the biggest fears in your English journey. Many English learners start speaking confidently. They begin a conversation. Everything feels fine. But suddenly something happens. They forget a word. The idea is inside their mind. They know exactly what they want to say, but the English word does not come. And in that moment, they panic. Their confidence disappears. Their mind becomes blank. The conversation becomes slow. Sometimes they stop speaking completely. Have you ever experienced this? If yes, then you are not alone. Almost every English learner goes through this problem. And the surprising thing is this: even fluent English speakers forget words sometimes. Yes, even fluent speakers. The difference is simple. They do not panic. They keep talking. That is the secret. Let me tell you a simple story. There was a student named Usman. One day he was speaking English with a friend. Everything was going well. Then suddenly he wanted to talk about a refrigerator. But he forgot the word. Immediately he became nervous. He stopped speaking. He felt embarrassed. He thought the conversation was over. But his friend smiled and said something very interesting. He said, "If you forget a word, explain it." Usman was confused. "What do you mean?" he asked. His friend replied, "Describe the thing." So Usman said, "It is the thing in the kitchen that keeps food cold." His friend immediately understood. "Ah, refrigerator," he said. At that moment, Usman learned a powerful lesson. You do not need every word to communicate. You only need a way to express your idea. This is exactly what fluent speakers do. When they forget a word, they do not stop. They use other words. They explain. They describe. They continue the conversation. And because they continue speaking, their confidence stays strong. Many learners believe they need perfect vocabulary before speaking. That is not true. Communication is more important than vocabulary. Imagine you forget the word umbrella. Instead of stopping, you can say, "It is something people use when it rains." People will understand. Imagine you forget the word hospital. You can say, "It is the place where doctors help sick people." People will understand. Imagine you forget the word airplane. You can say, "It is a vehicle that flies in the sky." Again, people will understand. Do you see what is happening? The conversation continues, and that is the goal. The goal is not perfect vocabulary. The goal is communication. Now let me tell you another mistake many learners make. When they forget one word, they focus only on that word. They become frustrated. They become nervous. They stop listening. They stop thinking. And the whole conversation becomes difficult. But one forgotten word does not destroy a conversation. Only panic destroys a conversation. That is why you must stay calm. Take a deep breath. Use simple words. Explain your idea. Keep speaking. The more you practice this habit, the stronger your confidence becomes. And here is something very important. Do not be ashamed of simple English. Many learners think simple English sounds weak. So they try to use difficult words all the time. Then they forget those words and become nervous. Listen carefully. Simple English is powerful. Simple English is clear. Simple English helps people understand you, and understanding is what really matters. A simple sentence spoken confidently is much better than a difficult sentence that never gets spoken. Remember that. Now imagine two learners. The first learner stops speaking every time he forgets a word. The second learner keeps talking and explains his ideas using simple words. After 6 months, who do you think will become more fluent? Of course, the second learner. Why? Because fluency grows through communication, not through silence. Every time you continue a conversation, your brain becomes stronger. Every time you explain an idea, your confidence grows. Every time you refuse to panic, your fear becomes smaller. And slowly, something amazing begins to happen. You stop worrying about every word. You stop fearing vocabulary mistakes. You start focusing on communication. And that is when speaking becomes easier. Remember this powerful sentence. You do not need to know every English word to speak English well. You only need the courage to keep talking. Because every conversation is teaching you something. Every conversation is helping you improve. Every conversation is bringing you closer to fluency. And one day you will realize something amazing. The words that once seemed difficult now come naturally. The conversations that once felt scary now feel easy. And the confidence you wanted for so long is finally becoming real. But there is another powerful secret that fluent speakers understand. They know that speaking every day does much more than improve vocabulary. It actually changes the way the brain works. It makes thinking faster. It makes understanding easier. It makes English feel natural. In the next chapter, I will show you how speaking with people changes your brain and why some learners improve much faster than others. Trust me, this chapter may completely change the way you see English forever. Chapter 5. How speaking with people changes your brain. Now listen very carefully because this chapter can completely change the way you think about English. Many people believe that fluency is a talent. They think some people are naturally good at languages and others are not. They think fluent speakers are special. They think they have something that ordinary learners do not have. But that is not true. The truth is much simpler. Fluent speakers are not different people. They simply train their brains differently. And one of the fastest ways to train your brain is by speaking English with people every day. Let me explain. Think about the first time you tried speaking English. It probably felt difficult. You needed time to think. You translated words in your mind. You worried about grammar. You worried about pronunciation. Even simple conversations felt stressful. Why? Because your brain was not used to using English. It was like a muscle that had never been exercised. Now think about someone who speaks English every day. At first, they struggled too. At first, they made mistakes too. At first, they felt nervous too. But they kept speaking, day after day, conversation after conversation, and slowly their brain started changing. English stopped feeling strange. English stopped feeling difficult. English started feeling natural. This is exactly what happens when you speak regularly. Your brain learns through repetition. The more you use English, the stronger your English becomes. Let me tell you a simple story. There was a learner named Bilal. Bilal understood English very well. He watched English videos every day. He knew many words. He knew grammar rules. But whenever he tried to speak, he became nervous. His speaking was slow. He translated everything inside his mind. One day he made a decision. He decided to speak English every day for at least 15 minutes. Some days he spoke with friends. Some days he spoke with learners online. Some days he spoke with himself. But he never stopped. The first week was difficult. The second week was difficult too. Sometimes he felt frustrated. Sometimes he felt embarrassed. Sometimes he thought he was making no progress. But he continued. Then something interesting happened. After a few months, he noticed that he was speaking faster. He was finding words more easily. He was making fewer pauses. He was feeling more relaxed during conversations. Why? Because his brain was adapting. His brain was learning. His brain was becoming stronger. And the same thing can happen to you. Every conversation changes your brain a little. Every conversation teaches your brain how English works. Every conversation makes speaking easier. This is why speaking practice is so powerful. It trains your brain in a way that studying alone cannot. And here is something very important. The more you speak, the less you translate. Many learners translate every sentence from their native language into English. This takes time. This creates stress. This slows down speaking. But when you speak English regularly, something amazing happens. Your brain starts thinking directly in English. You hear English. You understand English. You answer in English, without translating every word. This is one of the biggest signs of progress, and it happens through practice, not through waiting, not through overthinking, through practice. Now imagine two learners again. The first learner studies English every day but never speaks. The second learner studies a little and speaks every day. After 1 year, who do you think will feel more comfortable during conversations? Of course, the second learner. Because comfort comes from experience. Confidence comes from experience. Fluency comes from experience. And experience comes from speaking. Remember this powerful truth. Your brain becomes stronger in the language you use most. If you use English every day, your brain becomes faster in English. If you avoid English every day, your progress becomes slower. That is why daily speaking is so important. Even small conversations matter. Even 5 minutes matter. Every sentence matters. Every question matters. Every answer matters. Because little by little, your brain is changing. Little by little, your confidence is growing. Little by little, English is becoming part of you. And one day something amazing happens. You stop feeling afraid. You stop overthinking every sentence. You stop worrying about every mistake. You simply speak. That is the moment many learners dream about. And that moment is not created by talent. It is created by daily practice. Remember this: fluency is not built in one big moment. Fluency is built in small moments repeated every day. One conversation, one sentence, one question, one answer, again and again, until speaking becomes natural. And now we are moving to the final chapter of this video. This chapter brings everything together, because many learners start practicing English with excitement, but after some time they lose motivation and stop. In the next chapter, I will show you how to make English a permanent part of your life so you never lose progress again and continue growing until fluency becomes your reality. Chapter 6. Make speaking English a permanent part of your life. We have reached the final chapter of this video. And before this video ends, I want to share one lesson that can completely change your future. Many people start learning English with excitement. They watch videos every day. They learn new words. They practice speaking. They feel motivated. But after a few weeks, something happens. Their motivation becomes weaker. They stop practicing. They stop speaking. They stop improving. And slowly they return to the same place where they started. This is why many people never become fluent. The problem is not that they are lazy. The problem is that they depend only on motivation. And motivation never stays forever. Some days you will feel excited. Some days you will not. Some days you will feel confident. Some days you will not. That is normal. The people who become fluent understand something very important. They do not depend on motivation. They depend on habits. Because habits continue even when motivation disappears. Let me tell you a simple story. There were two English learners. The first learner practiced English only when he felt motivated. If he felt excited, he practiced. If he did not feel excited, he stopped. The second learner was different. He practiced every day. Sometimes he felt motivated. Sometimes he did not. But he still practiced. Even if it was only 10 minutes. Even if it was only one conversation. Even if it was only a few English sentences. He never stopped. Now guess what happened after 1 year? The first learner was still waiting for motivation. The second learner was speaking English confidently. Why? Because small daily actions are more powerful than big actions done once in a while. This is the secret many learners never understand. Fluency is not built in one day. Fluency is built every day. A few minutes today. A few minutes tomorrow. A few minutes the next day. And over time, those small efforts create big results. That is why you must make English part of your daily life. Do not make English something special that you do only once a week. Make it part of your normal routine. Speak English every day. Listen to English every day. Read English every day. Use English every day. Even if it is only for a short time. Because every small action is helping you move forward. And here is something very important. Do not focus only on how far you still have to go. Focus on how far you have already come. Many learners become discouraged because they are not fluent yet. They compare themselves with advanced speakers. They compare themselves with native speakers, and they feel disappointed. But that is the wrong way to think. Instead, compare yourself with the person you were 6 months ago. Compare yourself with the person you were 1 year ago. You will see progress. You will see growth. You will see improvement. And that progress should make you proud. Remember this: every fluent speaker was once a beginner. Every confident speaker was once nervous. Every person who speaks English easily today once struggled with simple sentences. The difference is that they did not quit. They continued. And that is exactly what you must do. Keep speaking. Keep learning. Keep improving. Even when progress feels slow. Because slow progress is still progress. Now close your eyes for a moment and imagine your future. Imagine speaking English without fear. Imagine joining conversations confidently. Imagine making friends from different countries. Imagine attending interviews without panic. Imagine traveling and speaking comfortably. Imagine expressing your ideas clearly and confidently. Imagine how proud you will feel. That future is possible, and it is closer than you think. But it starts with one decision. The decision to keep speaking English every day, not tomorrow, not next week, today. Because every conversation matters, every sentence matters, every mistake matters, every effort matters. And one day you will look back and realize something amazing. You did not become fluent because you were lucky. You did not become fluent because you were special. You became fluent because you refused to give up. You kept speaking when it was difficult. You kept practicing when it was uncomfortable. You kept moving forward when others stopped. And that is why you succeeded. So remember the most important lesson from this entire video. Always talk with people in English. Speak even when you make mistakes. Speak even when you feel nervous. Speak even when your English is not perfect. Because every conversation is taking you one step closer to fluency. And if you continue doing that, fluency will no longer be a dream. It will become your reality.